Hello, everyone. This is your host, Nourish Khan, and we are back with another podcast on our cricket special show. And what a way to start today's podcast because news from the centre is that Australia have retained the 2025 Ashes series. And what an incredible win has it been for Team Australia, who have been absolutely tremendous in every department. Although towards the start of this third test that was being played in the Adelaide Oval, it was being anticipated that Australia, although they didn't really start well, as England really had them on the first day in the first session, but that was temporary, as Australia, who've always been known to bounce back from situations like these, once again proved why the Aussie mindset is given such high regard. This is why, because Team Australia, a team that was being regarded as being comparatively weak, being less resilient, proved to be none of those, as they defied all odds and they shut down all the critics who were saying that this Australian side is a weak, is not that impressive, comparatively weak. Well, they proved exactly why they are known as the Aussies and why the Australian mindset is so anticipated. This is why, because not only have they clinched the all-important victory, the all-important third test, but they've also managed to retain the Ashes. And with that, the news for Team England is not good, as their drought for Ashes prolongs. The last time England won an Ashes series in Australia was back in 2010 or 11. Since then, England is yet to win an Ashes series in Australia. So, if I talk about Team England, there's a lot that needs to be pondered upon from their perspective, because baseball, as much as it is known for the aggression, as much as it is known for extensive game awareness, none of those boxes were unfortunately ticked in this series, as England really were on the receiving end once again. And although they did start off well, they didn't really carried on with that momentum. What went wrong for England? What went right for Australia? Today we're gonna take a deep dive into that. Well, if I talk about England, they started off well, and Jofra Archer, although he did bag 5 wickets, but those came at the expense of 53 runs. 53 runs in test matches against Australia. That's too much, my friend. And that's why, although he knows, he knows how to incorporate versatility in his pace, but from my perspective, I think where Jofra Archer is really struggling is reading the pitch, utilizing proper game awareness, and incorporating some resilience in his bowling. That's not really the case with Mitchell Starc, who was exceptional with the ball, and Pat Cummins, who set an example by being on the forefront of their bowling attack, the Australian bowling attack. This is why Australia proved to be once again irresistible, and I'd say incomparable Team Australia. And that's why they proved to be all of that, because Pat Cummins, who was also the captain for Team Australia in the third test, stepped up brilliantly with the ball and bagged up crucial wickets for his team. And while we're talking about all the good stuff that Team Australia has done, all of the star bowler, star batter of Team Australia, we cannot ignore or sideline the man who stood tall and firm with the bat and who was awarded the player of the match for his scintillating 106 runs inning in the first innings and 72 runs innings in the second innings for Team Australia. And yes, you might have already inferred who I'm referring to. I'm referring to none other than the exceptional Alex Carey, who was not only brilliant with the bat, but he was exceptional behind the stumps as well. See, when you're a wicket-keeper batter, you don't really have to be on top with your batting, but you also have to be sleek and I'd say consistent and absolutely spectacular behind the stumps as well. And that is exactly what Alex Carey did. And not only did he step up with the bat beautifully, he also stepped up behind the stumps with the gloves. And it was this time management, it was this proper, I'd say, situational awareness, and I'd say critical thinking that led to him, getting some crucial wickets for Team Australia behind the stumps, as well as he was exceptionally brilliant. He was a replica of MS Dhoni, of Quinton de Kock, of every other exceptional wicketkeeper batter that you could name. And Alex Carey has long been, included in the category of underrated cricketers, and for some valid reasons as well. He's not really been given the credit that he deserves. But today, let us just give this credit to Alex Carey, who was exceptional with the bat, was exceptional behind the stumps as well. And it is because of this that he was named the player of the match for the third test for Team Australia. And well and truly did he deserve it. And while we're talking about Alex Carey, let's not forget their incredible captain Pat Cummins, who, by the way, I would blindly trust with the captaincy, Pat Cummins. Because Patrick James Cummins, he's just exceptional with the ball, with the bat, and with the captaincy, of course. Because one thing about Pat Cummins is that he knows when to take the right decision. He knows just the right time when a decision needs to be taken. And that is exactly what matters, especially in modern day cricket, especially in the evolving, I'd say, background of cricket where things are rapidly changing. And all that really matters for you, and the one quality that really tops all the other qualities and really gets you wins, important series wins, important tournament wins, is your ability to bounce back up from setbacks. And I think that is something that even if you have exceptional pace, even if you're bowling with a speed of 150 plus, you still need to be exceptional with the game awareness. You still need to be mindful with reading the pitch. And I think that is what lacked in Jofra Archer's bowling, who was very exceptional for England. Although he did bag 5 wickets, but this is where the phenomena and the concept of stats with impacts really come into play. Because when you consider both these things together, that is when your performance altogether turns out to be natural, and you are an epitome of I'd say success, of epitome of getting wickets, getting runs for your teams. That is what really matters. So if you have figures of 50 for 50 but they were impactful, that is what matters. So I think that is what Jofra Archer needs to really ponder upon, because the guy has exceptional pace. The guy knows how to incorporate versatility as well, and he has a bit of diversity in his bowling as well. But that really, gets overshadowed if you're not really mindful of your game, if you're not really mindful of the situation that you're bowling in. So I really have to, have a knack for it, and not just as a bowler, but as a batter as well. As a batter, when you're facing a world-class bowler, you really have a lot of shots that are going on in your mind. The art of being a good batter and the art of being good, or the greatest of all times, I must say, is to narrow down the kind of shots that you need to play, and be apt and really mindful of the kind of shot that you're going to play, and be apt and mindful with your shot selection, because at the end of the day, that is exactly what matters in hard ball cricket. The timing, judging the ball perfectly, timing it perfectly, and executing the right amount of shot, the right kind of shot. I think that is what matters. I think another reason why Australia were so on top with their batting, with their fielding, with their bowling was Pat Cummins' captaincy, because the guy really stepped up in clutch situations, and he was really on point with being a really good captain. Because as a captain, the decisions that you take on the field really set the tone for your team's win. And this is a lesson that other captains also need to take into account. And this is where exceptional game awareness and all the critical thinking classes that you've taken, that the skills that you have really come into play. And that is, if I talk about Pat Cummins, he was exceptional with the ball and with the captaincy as well, in the sort that he knew when to incorporate a certain amount, a certain kind of bowler. He knew when to bring in Mitchell Starc. He knew when to bring in other kind of bowlers as well. He knew when to himself come into play to bowl. So I think these are the kind of decisions, the rotation of the pacers, I'd say the transition between spinners and pacers is also a very undervalued yet a very important skill that a captain needs to possess. And I think it is these kind of decisions that may seem I'd say not very important at that point, but they really make the entire difference, as we've seen in certain matches as well. And this was, I think, this is what was missing when Australia took on South Africa earlier this year in the WTC final at Lord's. But Australia, they have proven to be a very good team, and all the critics that were labeling this team as an inexperienced, underexperienced, and I'd say a weak team, Australia, under the captaincy of Pat Cummins, really toned down those critics with their exceptional, well-rounded performance. So it's not even about the performance; it's the mindset. The Aussie mindset is just exceptional. It is the mentality that really gets you these tournaments. Every other thing comes secondary. The game plan, the intent, the kind of I'd say the kind of mindset that you're going in with, going in on the ground with. All of that comes secondary. The first thing that comes in to play is your mentality. And I think OCs really have won with all that sort. I'll give you a small example. Yes, and last year, David Warner came to Pakistan to play the Pakistan Super League, and he led Karachi Kings team in that sort. And the way that he had, injected that OC mentality in the Karachi Kings team, it really showed. So Australia, they've truly been outstanding, exceptional in that sort. But for England, the dilemma continues. And although they have the likes of Ben Stokes as their captain, they have exceptional, players as well. They really need to understand how to channelize those properly, because it's honestly, as much as I'm excited and really happy for, sincerely happy for the Australian team winning this Ashes series, it also, kind of is heartbreaking to see the decline of Bazball, who has a lot of potential in the cricketing fraternity. So they have exceptional grounds, home grounds. If I talk about Team England, Lords, Manchester, Old Trafford, I mean, all those in Leeds, all these grounds have different kind of situation, different kind of environment, and different kind of pitches. So England, although they're playing very good cricket in their home ground, they really need to set the tone and carry forward that momentum away from home as well. So England are yet to win a test match in an Ashes test in Australia, I'd say. So I mean, this is what really happened today, and it was the highlight of this Ashes series, that Australia have clinched the victory, and now they're awaiting Australia. Well, I mean, from the analysis that I've listened to so far, Australia are really looking to whitewash England in this series, as they are really eyeing that 5-0 win in this series. But all of us are really pumped up and really, really looking forward to see how the rest of the Ashes test unfolds, as the next two test matches will be played in Melbourne and Sydney. Two most anticipated grounds, that are Melbourne Cricket Ground and Sydney Cricket Ground, the two most anticipated cricket grounds in the world of cricket. Well, that's it from the video today. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and we will be back with more exciting cricketing updates for you shortly. Till next time, this is your host Nourish Khan.